We are right now taking the butter that we put in with our flour and taking a pastry cutter. What you want to do is cut that butter right into your flour. It's called making it look kind of like it has pea-sized pieces. You do the same in regular pies as well as a gluten-free pie crust. And what it does is it just cuts that fat right into there so that when it's rolled out, you get a buttery, flaky type of crust. And you actually want kind of cold butter. Right from the refrigerator is really good. And keep working it until it's all worked in there. Alright, with a fork, we are going to take our egg yolk. This is ice water and apple cider vinegar, and 4 egg yolks because we're making such a big batch. We're going to pour that in, and I want a spatula. Make sure I get all my egg. The egg is going to be your binder. It's very, well, nearly impossible to make a really good pie crust without some egg. Alright, I'm going to take and just kind of toss that in a little bit with my fork. And mashing it. Put it in real good. Now, because some of your flours include starches, while this looks messy and mushy, it's a little different than a wheat crust, it will thicken as it sits. And I just want to work it into some of my mixture here. See, it's already thickening up in here. Look at there. Very gummy, thick. By the time we're done with this, you'll be able to roll it. So it's very key. With a wheat crust, you can get away with taking this right now and actually forming your pastry immediately. With a gluten-free crust, you really can't. You have to let this sit and absorb the egg. In order to do that, what we're going to do is spread some saran wrap out and put our batter in a disc on it and wrap it up and put it in the refrigerator for an hour. Here's my wrap. We'll use a spatula. Just dump this right out here. I'm going to split it up into 3 rolls because I wanted to have I have very deep crust pie dishes, and I wanted 3 discs. So I all know how expensive our flour is, so I don't waste any. Really clean it all out of there. Husband on drums. Alright. Just fashion yourself a little disc. Pat it out. And wrap it up. And this is what you'll refrigerate for an hour. Or a little longer if you want to, it doesn't matter. You just have to let it sit out for about 10 minutes. You might need a little bit longer if you left it in the refrigerator for a couple days. It might take more like half an hour to get it to where you can roll it out. And there we go. All set for the refrigerator. We'll come back when we're ready to go. We made our pie. I made a couple pieces of paper. I'm going to dust it slightly. A little bit of white rice flour. The sweet white rice flour is a little gummier, and it works really well for rolling out cookies, pie dough, etc. Unwrap your disc, and I like to sprinkle it just a little bit there. That'll make it more slippery, but it still works. Lay your rice paper over. When rolling out a pie crust, whether it's a gluten pie crust or a non-gluten, and even with sugar cookie dough, stuff like that, you want to roll slowly instead of fast, and you go around the disc. You don't just stay in one spot. If you go too fast, your dough cracks, and it doesn't roll uniformly all the way around, and that's when you get a misshapen round. The longer this dough is out, the softer it gets, the harder it will be to work with. But it also rolls easier, so that's the reason you let it sit out for a little while. Every so often you'll have to readjust your papers. I'm going to flip it over. Make sure there's no issues here. You want it to be about an inch, maybe two bigger than the size of the pan or pie plate you're going to use. And I don't have big enough pieces of wax paper for the size pie plates I usually have, so just do the best I can. Some really nice deep dish pie plates. That'll work. And yeah. Alright, now that we have rolled out our pie crust, we're going to remove one of the sheets of wax paper. We're going to take our pie plates, or at least one of them in this case. And the idea is to gently fold it in. And I have rather big pie plates. If it sticks a little bit, it's not a big deal. So you can always patch it. Since this is not going to be quite the same as a wheat crust, you do it a little bit different. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flop it over the top, and I wish I'd flopped it a little bit further, so scoot it, making sure it's over the counter. I'm going to, keeping the wax paper on, I'm just going to gently let it sink down into the pie plate. Once I have it pressed in a little bit, I start removing the wax paper before I actually get any creases in it. That's where a little bit of the flour really comes in handy. Otherwise it can kind of be really, really sticky. I just work my way around, trying not to tear anything. And that will be trash. Then I'll go ahead and patch anything that I want to. Fold up the excess, kind of squish it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of squish it into an edge shape. It's a lot like handling sugar cookie dough. And since it doesn't actually roll the way a wheat pastry would, it's really squishing. Make sure it's all tucked in. Now if you want a decorative edge, all you do is round it like that. My kids were amazed the first time. They said, "It looks like a real pie that everybody else eats." And it's definitely getting too warm. I'm going to dust it a little bit. Much better. For some reason, my fingers are sticking to it pretty bad. I don't happen to like it tall, so I always go through anything that's up above the pie pan is going to tend to get more cooked. Now it's ready for either holes in the bottom or that's for a pre-baked crust, and I'm making a pumpkin pie, so I'm not going to put holes in the bottom. But that's your pie crust. Okay, and this one, I'm going to flute the edges to the side. If it feels sticky, just get a little bit of flour on your rice flour on your hand.
That's what I did.
Here comes my husband.
I'm on this to do, baby. I want me how to do something.
And there is a pie crust.